Some buildings feel eternal. The pyramids have stood for over 4.5 millennia. The Colosseum endured the fall of Rome. The Parthenon still watches over Athens. These monuments outlived the empires that built them, proof that stone, vision, and ambition can defy time itself. But for every structure that survived, there were others just as magnificent, just as influential, that vanished completely. Not ruined, erased. In this video, we step back into those lost worlds. Using modern AI reconstruction built from archaeological remains, historical texts, coins, drawings, and eyewitness accounts, we can move through spaces that no longer exist, shift perspectives, and see these structures not as fragments, but as living places once filled with people, power, and purpose. We begin in ancient Mesopotamia around 600 BCE, with perhaps the most mysterious structure ever recorded, the Hanging Gardens, traditionally linked to Babylon. 19th century artists imagined vast terraces overflowing with greenery, rising above desert stone in impossible layers. But these images are speculation. No confirmed remains have ever been found. No Babylonian records describe them, despite the civilization documenting nearly everything else. What we do have are later Greek and Roman accounts, written centuries after the gardens supposedly existed. They describe tiered platforms, exotic trees, and mechanical irrigation systems, lifting water high above the ground. Some scholars now believe these gardens may not have been in Babylon at all, but in Nineveh, built by the Assyrian king Sennacherib, whose records do describe advanced royal gardens and waterworks. Whether myth, mislocation, or lost reality, the gardens endure as a symbol. Humanity forcing nature to bloom in defiance of desert heat. From legend, we move to certainty. In 331 BCE, Alexander the Great founded Alexandria on Egypt's Mediterranean coast. Just offshore, on the island of Pharos, rose one of the tallest structures of the ancient world, the Lighthouse of Alexandria. Unlike the gardens, this monument is well documented. Ancient coins depict it. Writers described it. Archaeological remains lie submerged in the harbor today. The tower stood over 100 meters tall, a three-tiered giant of white stone, square at the base, octagonal in the middle, circular at the top. A fire burned nightly at its peak, guiding sailors across the Mediterranean. Some accounts even speak of a massive mirror reflecting sunlight by day and magnifying flame by night. Perhaps myth, perhaps early optical engineering. For over 1,000 years, it stood as one of humanity's greatest navigational achievements before earthquakes between the 10th and 14th centuries reduced it to rubble. By the late 1400s, its stones were repurposed into a coastal fortress. The beacon that once guided civilizations disappeared into the walls of war. Not far in time but far in form stood another wonder. The Colossus of Rhodes. For centuries, people imagined it straddling the harbor, ships passing between its legs. That image came from later engravings, not ancient testimony. In reality, eyewitness accounts describe a bronze statue standing beside the harbor on a marble pedestal over 30 meters tall, depicting Helios, the sun god. Built from melted enemy weapons after Rhodes survived a massive siege, the statue was assembled plate by plate over an iron frame. It stood for only 56 years. An earthquake in 226 BCE snapped it at the knees. Yet even fallen, it drew travelers for centuries. Its broken remains lay near the harbor for over 800 years before being sold for scrap metal, reportedly hauled away by hundreds of camels. Its physical life was brief, its legend immortal. But wonders alone did not shape empires. Infrastructure did. In North Africa, the maritime superpower of Carthage built a harbor unlike anything in the ancient world. The Kothon, destroyed so completely by Rome in 146 BCE that it vanished from memory, its reconstruction comes from Roman texts and modern archaeology. The harbor was circular, ringed with covered docks capable of housing over 200 warships. At its center stood an island command post, the naval headquarters. From here, admirals could coordinate fleets, launch deployments, and dominate Mediterranean trade. It was not just a harbor, it was a weaponized port. When Rome finally defeated Carthage, they burned the city and filled in the harbor, erasing its military heart almost entirely from the landscape. In Rome itself, beyond the famous Colosseum, stood another monumental complex, the Baths of Caracalla, vast public bathhouses capable of holding over 1,600 people at once. These were not merely places to wash. They were social centers filled with libraries, gardens, exercise courts, and pools. Beneath the marble floors lay an industrial machine. Aqueducts delivered tens of thousands of liters of water per minute. Massive furnaces burned constantly, heating tanks that fed hot pools. Hollow floors and walls circulated heat through entire rooms. Tunnel systems stretched for kilometers, distributing water and airflow. Romans relaxing in steaming baths had no idea they sat above one of the ancient world's most sophisticated engineering systems. Technology Europe would not match for over a millennium after Rome's fall. As the Western Empire declined, power shifted east to Constantinople. There, overlooking the Bosporus, stood the great palace of the Byzantine emperors. Not a single building, but a sprawling imperial city of throne rooms, chapels, gardens, and halls stretching from the hippodrome to the sea. Emperors ruled from balconies watching ships pass between continents. Ceremonial halls staged displays of imperial wealth to overwhelm foreign envoys. Private harbors lay beneath royal quarters. Control the palace, control the sea, control the empire. For over 800 years it stood as the political heart of Byzantium before falling into ruin after the 13th century, quarried away, stone by stone, until only fragments remained.